to the Craft Parenting podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline. How's it going, Caroline?
Good. I mean, I'm really tired, but it's good.
And I am back after a brief hiatus.
I mean, time is a construct in Podcastlandia, and I have no idea what order we recorded the last 4 episodes that we released, but it was not in the order in which they were released. So I got nothing. I don't even know. Where am I? Where are you? Where are the kids? I got baby monitors, so I'm sure the kids are good. It's the only thing I'm sure of.
No, it was the episode with Julia.
Yeah.
Last week. And you guys went to Delhi Liquor. So
We did.
shout out. You should go check that episode out. But we have a great show planned. Although it's not very
I was
planned.
going to say, is it planned?
We're going to fly by the seat of our pants this week. But we have some stories to tell about some stuff that's been going on.
How I spent my Mother's Day weekend, which was not as intended. But it wasn't at Children's Emergency Room. So there was that.
To step up. And yeah, so we'll talk about that and some other family adventures that we've been having. And of course, we have a beer in front of us, so we'll talk about that too. Hey everyone, Joe Ludwig here with the one and only Caroline.
Hey!
Before we get to the main topic of today's episode, we wanted to pause briefly and tell you about how you can support the show.
So if you enjoy listening to the podcast and reading our blog posts every week, then you now have the opportunity to support the show through Buy Me a Coffee. Here's what you need to know. It's super easy to do. You don't have to set up an account to contribute. You have options. Send us a one-time donation or sign up as a member to contribute on a monthly or yearly basis. Plus, you can unlock exclusive content.
To learn more about how you can support the Craft Parenting Podcast through Buy Me a Coffee, click the link in the show notes. And now, back to the show.
Hello, this is Morgan Freeman, and you are listening to the Craft Parenting Podcast with Joe and Caroline. Stay tuned for more.
I absolutely love that.
What are we drinking?
Yeah, we have some beer in front of us. It is from Lebanon Brewing Company, and it is called the Cedar City Pils. It is in a lovely crowler with a C.
Mm-hmm.
ABV is 5%. It is a lovely Pilsner.
Yeah, I couldn't find their description to read. And since it's a crowler, it's a very generic can.
Oh, yeah. This one has a little bite to it as far as the hops go.
Yeah, it is a little hoppy. Someone on Untapped, because sometimes breweries will have descriptions of their beers on Untapped that you can't find on their website. They do not. Someone described it as lemongrass, and I can get a little bit of that.
Yeah. Definitely a good summer beer.
Yes, which it was until today. Today was a little bit chillier. But chilly in a relative term.
60 degrees.
I think it still hit 75, but the sun, it was cloudy. So it didn't feel oppressively hot like it did on Monday and Tuesday when I was in the sun half the day. And Friday when I was in the sun all the day.
Oh, yeah.
We can talk about that too.
Oh, yeah.
So many things.
I don't know if it just says it's a Pils, so I don't want to put words in their mouth, but we've been talking about Italian Pilsners.
That was the Untitled Art. It was an Italian Pilsner.
The non-alcoholic Italian Pilsner. Italian Pilsners are just Pilsners that are dry hopped, I believe. And I don't know if that's what this is.
It says it's a German-style Pilsner. That's all I got.
Oh, it's a German style.
Yes.
I don't know. It's a little bit hoppy for that. It's definitely more hoppy than your typical Pilsner. It definitely has like I said, an extra bite to it. I think it's good though. This will be perfect. It's refreshing, but it's definitely a great summer beer, like I said. Golden straw color, big fluffy head.
Pretty clear.
Yes. It's still carbonated. This is over a month old. Whoops.
410.
Yeah.
I don't think well, actually, it might be one of the older crowlers in our fridge because we have 4 crowlers in our fridge. So I was confused on which one I was supposed to grab before we started recording.
Yeah. So is there anything you wanted to say about it?
It's delicious. I'm looking forward to finishing it.
Yeah, definitely. This is from Lebanon Brewing Company, and I believe they just opened.
Yeah, they haven't been open super long.
I think they opened Q4 last year.
Sure.
It's like super recent. I don't even think they reached their year anniversary yet.
I don't believe so either.
So they're still new. They're still, trying to find their way. When we went there, I think we talked about this in a previous episode, but when we went there, it kind of gave me like an old firehouse vibe.
Yes, but with food attached.
Yeah, this one it was bigger, and like space-wise, it was bigger than old firehouse. And it had food.
Yeah, and the cell phone reception was slightly better because I recall having issues ordering pizza from the pizza joint across the street while we were at Old Firehouse.
At Old Firehouse, yeah.
Yeah, trying to call them over the phone.
So yeah, it's basically set up exactly like it because it's inside an old firehouse.
Yes, and when we were there were a lot of firefighters there as well. So I pull up and it's like fire trucks and ambulances parked all along the front.
Yeah, I think they were doing like a union, like
some kind of meeting,
some kind of like professional get together thing. Yeah. So the definitely it's worth the trip. They have quite a few options on tap.
They do, because like they already have a hard seltzer, they have a hard lemonade, and come hungry to get some food. Though the payment systems are separate, so you'll have to swipe both places.
I think that's pretty common.
It is becoming way more common now, yes.
Because they don't own the kitchen, like that's
correct,
being rented or whatever.
Yeah,
that's very common.
And don't have their what was the name of that sauce?
I don't know, but it was like barbecue.
It was good, and it was a really good name. Like, why did I do this? Or something like that.
Like 9-alarm fire, 3-alarm fire.
No, it wasn't anything that involved an alarm and a fire.
Oh.
It was like stupid hot, and it wasn't stupid hot either. It was definitely something that said, "This is really hot." And I just took like a big dab of it while I was on the phone talking to somebody and had to pretend like I wasn't dying. It was really fun. Highly recommend that.
It showed you what it was.
That does guitar guy.
So we've been having quite a few adventures lately.
Yeah,
over the last month or so.
Life got crazy. So we noticed as the weather started getting warmer that we would see a carpenter bee or two on our back deck every once in a while. And we're like, this is annoying. And then it got cold again and they went away and we forgot about it.
Yes.
And then a few days before Mother's Day, it really warmed up and all of a sudden we had like 15 to 20 carpenter bees looking at the awning on our deck every day.
It's this beautiful awning that the previous homeowners put in. I don't know when they put it in, but
I feel like it had to be semi-recently because it's not stained.
it was not stained. And I learned a lot about carpenter bees
Yeah.
because we tried everything,
Well,
not kind of everything. We tried. So the internet said they don't like citrus.
so we got lemon juice and we sprayed them with lemon juice. They were unhappy about being sprayed with lemon juice, but then they kept coming back. And then we tried vinegar because other bugs don't like vinegar and they didn't like being sprayed with it, but then they kept coming back. And
So we tried not to, we tried our best to, deterrent them, but you can't deterrent them. They're going to do what they do. That's biology. You can't.
it's wood. They're carpenter bees. They go drill the wood.
So carpenter bees are these big bees. There's obviously the male and the female. The females like to dig into wood, dead wood, not live wood. So they don't dig into trees. They dig into decks and awnings.
And play sets. But fortunately, they haven't gotten to our play set yet.
Our playset is stained.
Yeah.
We need to stain it again. That's the next project. And fences. That's the next project as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so they don't eat wood like termites, but they dig, I think it's a 1/4-inch hole.
Thereabouts, yeah.
And then they tunnel in, and then that's where they lay the eggs, and that's where the female lives. And then the males, they kind of just hover outside,
Mm-hmm.
and they bring the female pollen and stuff. The males do not sting. They're just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, most bees don't sting unless they're super provoked because it's their last line of defense of, like, kamikaze, I'm going to die, but this is going to protect everybody else kind of deal.
The females will sting, but you really have to piss them off.
Yeah.
So,
Which Lily tried to do a few times, I think. Well, because we'd be outside and she, like, started, like, swatting at him. And we're like, Lily, just go inside. It's fine.
yeah. Well, no, that was probably, she was probably swatting the males, because the males, they're like centurions. They just hover outside the hole.
Centuries?
Centuries, yeah. What did I say? Centurions?
Both probably work.
Yeah. So they hover outside the hole. But once they dig a hole, the female release, they don't have a long life. However, the next season
Mm-hmm.
comes around, and the new batch of bees, the new generation of bees, they can smell the old generation, and they like to use old holes. So
Well, don't do more work if you don't have to.
right. So it's hard to, once they start drilling, it's difficult to get rid of them. And they can cause, structural damage if you let it go. And we like our awning.
We do. It's really nice.
It's really nice. So we did I did a bunch of research, and they say you have to, evict the bees. There's no chemical, that you can buy necessarily, unless you want to go through like an exterminator.
Which we had one on call if we needed it, but we have not needed it yet.
Yeah. So we used WD-40.
WD-40.
WD-40. We used WD-40, and that killed the bees.
Well, so
And then we patched the hole.
yeah.
And I read on the internet that they don't like stained wood.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to stain everything.
Yeah. So the Saturday before Mother's Day, we had Larry on call to come over to help with something with the house in the yard. Turns out the thing that he had been asked to come over for wasn't going to be as big of a project, but we were like, hey, these carpenter bees are an issue, and now we know how to get rid of them. So you want to do that instead? So the kids and myself loaded into the van and headed to Lowe's to buy stain and window box and some flowers for me for Mother's Day, because I wanted some flowers for the house. Lily and Elliot had fun running around the hardware store and being adorable. And
they tried to ride a couple of tractors.
They did try to ride a couple of tractors, which was an issue because the first time we went to Lowe's when the tractors were out, it was man-on-man coverage because it was the four of us going to the hardware store. But this was just me and the kids. So I had to try to figure out how to keep both children away from the tractors, because once you get them on a tractor, you can't get them off. Because their Opa has a tractor now. But as Lily called it on Friday, this is my tractor. Opa doesn't have a tractor anymore. So when we get home, I had to buy paintbrushes too, because I have no idea where our paintbrushes are. I'm slowly finding them. Well, I'm slowly finding paint supplies, but I still haven't seen paintbrushes. I've seen paint rollers.
We don't have... We couldn't find the church key either to open the paint can.
I might have found one of those. I definitely found the paint supplies box.
Okay, good.
But I'm not sure what paint supplies are still in it. So when we get home, Joe and Larry start staining whatever bit of the deck they can reach. And then we get ladders so we can stain the bits of the deck that we can't reach. And I'm trying to organize the inside of the house with the kids and my mom, because the kids are crazy. And I think we mostly just colored, because that's what the kids like to do. We spent a good portion of our Mother's Day weekend staining the deck, or the cover for the deck, because fortunately the deck itself is all that fake wood, like the plastic wood, so they don't do anything with that.
The underbelly is wood, though.
Yeah, but so far they haven't touched that, and we think that's because the rest of the deck is fake wood, so they get confused by the fake wood. But we are going to have to stain that too.
Oh,
Probably.
Yeah.
I would recommend it. I don't know. I am not an expert, but we probably should. So yeah, so we got some solid stain. I did a pretty decent job color matching, considering the fact that I didn't bring a sample of our wood with us, and I almost forgot what color it was.
Yeah, the deck is like a red.
It's like a red-brown.
Red-brown.
Or it's like a brown-red. No, it's a red-brown. It's because it's mostly brown, but like a touch of red. And I bought brown-red paint. So it's mostly red with a touch of brown. So they don't super clash, but they don't super match. It's fine.
One just looks newer than the other.
Yeah.
I mean, the deck is... I don't know how old the deck is.
I'm not sure either.
I'm sure it faded a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But today we got... So that was 2 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah.
And because some of the parts of the deck are hard to get to, we got the confirmation today that Larry finished the last side that we weren't able to reach without an extension ladder, or only with an extension ladder.
Yeah, so this is the tricky part, because they started drilling on the side of the awning that was on the deck, but then they mostly drilled on the side of the awning that faced the neighbor, which there is nothing for us to stand on.
Yeah, it like slightly overhangs the deck, so you can't stand on the deck and paint it. You have to be off the deck, and it's like 20 plus feet in the air. So we needed an extension ladder that was longer than my extension ladder to get to it.
So yeah, it was probably a story above ground. Like it's on the first floor, but
No, it's a good story and a half, 2 stories above ground.
yeah, it's almost 2 stories.
Yeah, because it's the roof. It's not the deck itself.
Because it goes about, halfway up to that window.
Yeah. So
yeah, we needed, and it was not a good situation because the ground there are 2 trees immediately there. So we had to maneuver the ladder there. And then we had to figure out how to lean it against the awning.
mm-hmm.
And then we had to figure out how to balance it. Because if you go down the side yard, there's like a rock steps,
Mm-hmm.
rock steps made of rocks.
Yes.
And those continue down through the side yard and into the backyard to the patio.
It's really fancy landscaping. And it's really nice, but it is annoying if you're trying to put any kind of thing on it that needs to be some kind of level.
Right. So we were trying to balance it with what do you call them? The rocks, the stone rocks, and the creek rocks.
I call them river rocks.
River rocks, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to. So Larry had me find river rocks, flat river rocks,
Mm-hmm.
to try to level the ladder.
I was glad I didn't watch this. I did witness a bit of it, and I was like, you know what? Y'all are fine. You're big boys. You mostly know what you're doing.
So yeah, he was the lucky one that went up there and sprayed the WD-40, which immediately killed the bees. Like I said, there was no other way. We tried lemon juice, we tried other things, but
We tried natural deterrents to get them to leave of their own volition, and they did not listen.
Yeah, they didn't listen. So, I mean,
because your other option is to get, and we did get a carpenter bee trap.
that doesn't stop them.
It doesn't stop them from digging, but you hope that they go into that instead of drilling into your wood. But since we stained, we haven't caught any in it. So.
That we caught 3.
But yeah, that was before we had finished staining. And then we haven't once we got 75% of the way done staining, they stopped showing up. Or at least in high numbers. And I don't know if that's because the season's over for them doing their business, or if they were like, hey, this ain't a hip place for us to hang out anymore. Peace out, bye.
Yeah, they don't dig it. They it's hard for them to dig into the stain.
Yeah, because we got the thick stain.
So they don't do it, but they can still smell the female.
Mm-hmm.
The female hormone or pheromones, I think is the word.
Pheromones is the word. Yes.
Yeah. So the female, once the female digs into the wood, she releases the pheromones, and
it's like, hey, feed me.
Those are there forever.
Yeah. So
next season is going to be the big test. Are they going to come back and try to dig? And
we shall see. But I do need to get another hook for my wind chimes now. I miss my wind chimes.
Yeah, definitely. But the bee trap seems to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a bird box that goes into a mason jar.
Yes. Because once they get in the mason jar, they can't get out. I don't entirely understand why, but it works.
They can't get out? Is there like a...
I don't know. It works.
Yeah, I guess So that'll help with the newbies next season.
Yes.
It might attract them.
We shall see.
But we may want to take it down. But okay. So that was our
That was the bee saga.
the bee saga. The Mother's Day saga.
Yeah.
But
Hey, it wasn't like last year's Mother's Day, so I'll take it.
yeah, last year. Go listen to last year's Mother's Day episode.
That was fun.
We ended up at the ER.
Well, technically it was urgent care, but children's urgent care and ER were in the same room at the time.
We went to Children's Hospital.
Yeah. Was that the emergency room? I thought it was urgent care. Maybe it was late at night enough that we were at the ER. I don't know. I was so tired. I was so frustrated. We had an episode about it.
No, we went to Children's.
Yeah, we were at Children's. Yeah.
We didn't go to. It was too late to go to Green Township.
Yeah, I know. But there's an urgent care in Children's Hospital. And there's an ER.
Oh, I thought that's confusing.
It's very confusing. It's so confusing.
Okay. So, yeah, better Mother's Day. So for Mother's Day, we just went to my mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
And did your mom come?
No.
Your mom didn't come. But we spent time with your mom.
On Saturday, yes. Making our house not bee friendly.
Yes. And she, and you hung out with her.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so my brother made something.
We went to your brother's house.
Oh, we went to my brother's house.
Yes.
That's right. We did. So we hung out with my family.
For a Mother's Day / your father's birthday.
Yes.
We're not celebrating my birthday. Thing.
Yes. And Lily helped sing to him.
She did.
And they both helped blow out his candles.
Neither of them have blown out candles on their birthdays, so I always forget to find the candles to put them on the cake. So we just end up eating the cake.
So it was a good Mother's Day.
It was.
A beautiful day. Beautiful weekend, really.
Yeah.
And then you took some time off.
Yep. And I helped out with Lily's school for their water days, which is like the preschool version of field day. So they had 2 different days. They had Monday and Tuesday because they have some kids that are there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they have some kids that are there Tuesday, Thursday. So they wanted to make sure that all children could have fun. And because of my Girl Scout experience / ability to say no to small children, I was put in charge of the water balloons, where the biggest challenge was remembering which kids had been there before so they wouldn't throw 10 water balloons to make sure we had enough water balloons for all of our friends. Fortunately, there were only a few kids that tried to do more water balloons.
Was Lily one of them?
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Like, there was one kid that came up like 5 times, and the 5th time I was like, dude, if you come over here again and try to get into these water balloons, like, I'm going to go get your teacher, and we're going to have a conversation about this, because we have talked multiple times about how you may not have more water balloons. You need to stop coming over here and asking for them because you're trying to game the system. Like, no. So, because it was like I think we had the kids at the preschool class, the 4-year-old class, and then the 3-year-old class, because it was 3 separate recesses that we did this. And the first round of the first round was just complete chaos because I didn't have another option for the kids other than throw water balloon in hoop and try to make it in the hoop. So they just kept coming back for more water balloons before I could be like, whoa. Like, we need something else that we can do, because they were very, like, the pre-K group was very strict on, like, staying at your station and, like, rotating stations. The 4s and the 3s were just mild chaos. A little less structured. And so then we found the reusable, like the water balls, like the foam balls. But these were like, they had been used all school year, so they were like dead. But it worked. It scratched the itch, and they would just throw those instead of all my water balloons. Because I needed to make sure that I had enough water balloons for 2 days of like 70 plus students each day. So by the time the 4s classes got there, we had a system. And then by the time the 3s got there, the 3-year-olds mostly just wanted to wash cars and throw sponges at each other. So it didn't really matter, because the stations that they had, where they had like a tote on the ground full of water and pom-poms, and you're supposed to scoop the pom-pom into the cups, and like the cups had numbers on them. So you're supposed to get the number of pom-poms that match the number of cup, like the number on the cup. So if the cup had a 1, you were supposed to put 1 pom-pom in it. So it's supposed to be like a educational-ish activity while still a sensory thing. They had bubbles and chalk, so you could draw with chalk and play with bubbles. There was just a straight water table, and there was a sponge toss. So you were supposed to toss a sponge back and forth with your friend, which usually ended up like purposefully hitting your friend with the sponge in close range. And then there was the car wash station, where they took the cars and the bikes the kids had been playing with and drawing with chalk on all school year, and just said, here's sponges, here's soapy water, go to town. So they were playing some like 50s sock hop music at the car wash.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. It was so cute. And then, so fortunately on Monday, it was pretty sunny and it was pretty warm. So the 4s class and the 3s classes soaked their kids with the hoses, and then mildly regretted it for the kids that are there, quote, all day, because they're supposed to have rest time, but they had like soaked gym shoes. And like, okay, I have to get all of these kids into their change of dry clothes so we can maybe attempt to have nap time, but nap time might not happen. So on Tuesday, the 4s group was like, we are not spraying the kids with the hose. Nobody mentioned anything about spraying the kids with the hose. Friends, do not get yourself that wet. It is cold. Y'all complained yesterday. The preschool teachers were like, it is too cold today. Do not get the kids that wet. And then the kids got each other soaking wet anyway. So like, yeah, me not like encouraging them to splash each other made zero difference. Because like my thing to do would be like, hey, do you guys want to get wet? And they'll be like, yeah. And I was like, okay, come here, let me tell you a secret. And I'd get them all to circle close around this 5-gallon bucket. I'd stick my hands in it, and I'd just throw my hands up in the air so it would rain down on them, and they'd all scream and go, ah, that's the best. And then one of the teachers was like, can we please not do that today? And I'm like, fine, okay. I ain't got to deal with kids. You do. So I'm like, they got 3 more days of school left. Like, it's fine.
So you were the instigator.
Partially. And then I stopped. But then the kids were instigating each other. So they all got soaked anyway. So we got a little bit more loosey-goosey with the balloons with the 4-year-olds on the second day, because I still had a bunch left over, because we had done a good job of rationing them. Maybe a little bit too good of a job. And then when the 3s class came, that's when we let the kids have a water balloon fight. Because the teachers were like, oh yeah, get them soaked, whatever, we don't care.
On Tuesday?
On Tuesday.
So the 3s class didn't care.
Oh, the 3s class, they didn't care at all. And like the 3s class, that was just like chaos of like the kids would just go wherever their little toddler brains told them to go, which usually ended up being the car wash or the sponge throwing station or the water table. Those were like the 3 favorites. So like the 3s class, the teacher still sprayed them off with the hose. Lily's teacher mysteriously disappeared before that happened. And when she came back, I was like, oh, you know what? Your teacher needs a really big hug, everybody. Let's all give your teacher a real big hug.
Oh, boy.
And she's like, I didn't bring a change of clothes. And I'm like, I didn't either. You'll be fine. Because her kid was there, too. So her kid was also attacking her with, like, water balloons and stuff. But because we had all these water balloons left over and one of the teachers was sick, so we didn't have any, quote, adults there as far as like the preschool director or assistant to tell us, oh, yeah, we'll just save some of these water balloons for next year. So we just kept blowing up water balloons.
Save them for next year.
Yeah, I mean, they probably couldn't anyway. But we started filling up more water balloons, and then they threw them at the teachers, and they threw them at us, and they threw them at each other. And because we got the cheater balloons, the ones where like you hook it up to a hose and it fills up 35 at once, they're really cool. I'll show you a video of it later.
35 water balloons at once?
Yeah, and it takes like 30 seconds to fill them all up at the most.
What?
I know. See, this is like when I was at Girl Scout camp in middle school. We wanted to do a water balloon toss one year for one of our activities. So we were hooking up water balloons to the nozzle, like directly to the spigot of a hose to fill it, like turn on the water, fill it up, turn off the water when it was full enough but not too full, so you could then get it off of the spigot, tie it in a knot, and then gently place it in your bucket.
You could do it at the kitchen sink. Usually there's like a connector.
This is at camp.
Oh.
We ain't got that fancy stuff.
Well, usually there's a connector.
We didn't have that fancy thing either.
Usually it comes with it.
We either missed it or this was before that was a thing. I don't know. But I remember, like, okay, it's like these water balloons are very precious because these took for freaking ever to fill up. And this is just like, oh, yeah, turn on the hose.
And just tying them, too.
Yeah, but so it's just like a little, like, rubber band that seals it shut. So if you squeeze the water balloon the right way, it won't pop, but it turns into a water gun. And a lot of the kids figured out how to do that.
That's cheating.
But it was lots of fun.
Water balloon fights aren't really effective. You just throw them at the person and then they bounce off.
We were trying really hard to encourage them to not throw them at their friends. It just happened.
So what you do is you throw it at the floor.
Yeah.
And hope it pops, and then that's how you get them wet.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I throw you a water balloon at you, it's just gonna hit your chest and fall.
There's like a
the
50-50 shot it'll explode. It depends on how full the water balloon is.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. Usually we make them kind of small.
Yeah. So I ran around. So because the second day kind of delved into chaos with the threes, it was controlled chaos. I got to run around in the hose with Lily, and I got a little bit more wet. And then we sat in the shade because we brought over a canopy. Because the first day I did not do that, and I got a little sun-kissed. It turned into a tan right quick, but I got a little sun-kissed, and I was like, I need to not do that again. But Lily, both days, liked to lay her towel out in the sun and then just straight lay in the sun like a starfish. It was so cute. Like, zero prompting from me. And then the second day, the towels in her class were more diverse. But the first day, all the girls had unicorn-themed towels, and all of the boys had dinosaur-themed towels.
I'm surprised I didn't have mermaid-themed towels.
I mean, I don't know. Lots of unicorns.
Unicorns. Huh.
Yep. And now I think I bought Lily's unicorn towel. And it was like we were on vacation and I bought Lily a new towel. And I was like, I need to buy Lily a towel and Elliot a towel. So Lily got a unicorn and Elliot got a dinosaur. Because I think they had like 3 options. And that was what made the most sense for our kids.
Yeah.
And that's like when Lily was 1.5 and Elliot was like 2 months old.
Oh, he loves dinosaurs, though.
He does. So we got real lucky with that one. Yeah, so I had lots of fun. There was an ice cream truck that came the first day. Soft serve ice cream truck. That was fun. They just gave us cups of ice cream the second day.
They didn't come the second day?
No. Well, because they came for the field day, too. Because the first day, the big kids' school had field day.
Oh, okay.
So the big kids' school got soft serve ice cream, too.
Where did the kids go? The big kid go?
The Cheviot Field House. So they walked probably 2 blocks or 3 blocks.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. I was like, where are the big kids? And they're like, oh, they're at field house. I'm like, we have the whole school to ourselves. We could have had water balloon fights in the hallway. But yeah, so Lily was so excited to see me both days. I think she forgot that I told her the day before, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if your mom showed up to school tomorrow? Or like, do you want your mom to show up to your school tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. And like, I was packing us our picnic lunches. And she was like, is that your lunch for work? And I'm like, yeah, sure. No. But yeah, this is my work today, is playing with water with a bunch of small children.
Yeah, so the preschool, you said there were there's 3 levels, but there's 2 classes per level.
Yes. There's half day and a full day. Half day and full day classes.
For each level?
Maybe the pre-K just has full day. I don't know.
The 3s has a full day?
Yeah. The 3s and the 4s have full day classes and they have nap time.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's less time than daycare.
Is it? It's less time than daycare?
Mm-hmm. Because the kids are there from like, I think school starts at like 7:50 to 2:15ish. Versus your daycare, you'd be there from like 7:30 to like 5:30.
Yeah.
Mom drops you off on the way to work and dad picks you up on the way home from work or something like that. So, yeah, so they had fun. And then Lily had her graduation ceremony on Friday. I mean, end of school year celebration, more kind of deal. The kids sang some songs. The 3-year-old sang This Little Light of Mine. And the first verse of This Little Light of Mine, they did pretty good. The second verse, the 2 different classes were on. They almost turned it into a round.
They almost did. Well, there was one particular kid
that was very loud.
It was very loud and very off.
Yes. It was really cute. And Lily was so happy to see her family.
Yeah, because I took off. I didn't take off, but I just, comp time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, you went, Elliot went, of course. And then my mom and my sister also came.
Yeah.
And we were in the first row.
Mm-hmm.
And Elliot got really bored. It was really funny.
He just lays down on the floor, staring up at the ceiling. And I'm like, okay, bud, at least you're quiet. It's fine.
Yeah. And, like you said, they all came in. They all had hats.
Mm-hmm. For their different class animals. So since Lily's a firefly, they had little firefly hats. The full day 3's class is bears. They had little headbands with bear ears on them. So it was something that they had made that was their class quote animal.
And then they all wore their tie-dye t-shirt.
Yeah, because earlier in April, I helped her class tie-dye t-shirts. So they were supposed to wear that tie-dye t-shirt to school.
You're like a professional at that.
I have tie-dyed a few shirts in my lifetime. I have trained a few hundred people on how to tie-dye shirts. I can train you for a small fee. And bring supplies. Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to do some tie-dye this week. Because we got a bunch of white shirts that need some dye. I got a few shirts that were already tie-dyed that need to be over-dyed because the dye is fading. I'm going to have fun with that on the back deck one day.
You're going to dye my deck?
Only fun colors. It's fine.
You're going to wash it off, right?
It's fine. But so we parted our separate ways after Lily's graduation or end of year celebration. We dropped Joe off at home. We visited Grandma for a hot second so I could drop off the exercise bike that we had procured for her. And then I went to Joe's parents' house so the kids could hang out with their Oma and aunt, and I could help Big Joe build a gazebo. I thought we were building a normal person gazebo, not a gazebo for giants. So their deck on the back of their house is like 32 feet by 15 feet or something like that. The gazebo is 12 feet by 20 feet. And then it's like 15 feet, or I don't even know how tall it is because we didn't even finish building the thing.
No, because I don't know what the roof looks like.
So I get there and Joe is just sitting, or Big Joe, so we can make things less confusing. Big Joe is sitting in the garage assembling like step 1 of building this gazebo. And I'm like, okay, let me see the directions. Like, let me page through like the next 4 steps. Okay, we don't have to add anything to these pieces. So I'll just start staging these pieces in the side yard. So once you have this piece together, it'll be in the side yard. It'll be out of our hair. And then you can start assembling the next one. Because we got to do this like 4 times. And so I was just staging pieces while he was assembling them because this thing came in 6 boxes. And just trying to find the pieces was hard enough. Because I was trying to find piece D13 and D14 for the longest time. And they're at the bottom of box 3 under L5 and M5.
I had that issue as well.
Your organization system made 0 sense, people who built this. And then it was only like halfway through me trying to find pieces, I realized that the last page of the instruction manual had what piece was in which box.
Was it packaged by a bunch of Swedish people though?
I feel like IKEA directions are a little more clear than these directions were.
Well, IKEA is all about efficiency and packaging.
Yeah. And
This was not an IKEA gazebo.
no.
But
And like IKEA at least says like, okay, here are the screws that are in bag 1 and here are the screws that are in bag 2. And you need the screws from bag 2 for this step. But we've already used up all the screws from bag 1. So like, we're going to be using bag 2 now. Similar to Lego. When Lego puts things together, you finish up bag 1 before you open bag 2. 95% of the time.
this came in 6 boxes though.
It did. And then about an 1/8 of the way through construction, I was like, hey, Big Joe, do you have an Allen socket set? Because that would make this go a lot faster. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, you probably do. You just don't know where it is. But I ain't digging through this garage to find it. I'm going to go to Harbor Freight and I'll be right back. And so I bought me a new socket because all my sockets are dying. My socket wrenches, I bought me a new socket wrench because my socket wrenches are dying because they don't really ratchet anymore. They just spin and spin and spin and don't spin the
And
bolt.
frustrate the user.
Yes. So I bought me a new socket wrench and then I bought 2 metric Allen socket sets. One for me and one for Joe.
Metric.
Metric.
Not
Not imperial, metric.
because you have tools. They are in imperial.
Yes, they are. And I needed metric. So, went to Harbor Freight, got the things, came back, and that speeded up assembly quite a bit. So at that point, Joe had assembled the uprights and we were starting to get the width and the length pieces sorted out. And we did the short length pieces first. And I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. And then we did one of the width pieces. And I'm like, how long is this thing? And then I finally look at the first page of the instructions, which is when I see the last page that tells me what box all the pieces are in. Oh, this gazebo is giant. Maybe I should have advocated a bit more for hiring a professional to put this thing together. It's like, it's aluminum. It's easy. We got this. We, in fact, did not have this.
No, we did.
We did. So
It just took a little bit.
it did. So the kids didn't want a nap, which was fine. So Lily helped out a little bit, quote unquote, once we finally started assembling pieces on the deck. And then I helped get the kids down for a nap. And then we utilized your mom and Jenna, which how nobody died through that process is a miracle, to hold things while we assembled things so we could actually have the rectangle of the structure together. And then we started to collect pieces for going up. And I was like, how we gonna do this? I'm short. You're half broken.
You being my dad.
Yeah. Because you got a bum back and a bum knee and a bum arm. Like, we can't do this on our own. Hey, Joe, grab these 15 things from our house. It was like 3 things.
It was 3 things.
And you only brought 2 of them. In your defense, the tank top was hard to find.
I brought you a shirt.
Yeah, but I wanted a tank top. I was very specific. I was being needy. So we have an 8-foot ladder, a 6-foot ladder, and we'll call it a 5-foot ladder. I think our little giant's like 5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
We need a bigger one now that we have a bigger house. But it was the right size for our first home. And between Joe, Big Joe, Josh, and myself, we managed to get the framework of the roof assembled and up in the air. And Joe said, I am good with the words more times than I can count on both hands in about an hour.
Well,
it's true. And that's why I married you. I am not good with the words. I math. I build things.
I don't have the attention span to follow direction. Like,
no, my favorite was
follow directions and build stuff.
My favorite was we like coached a few times on this is how you screw in a screw. And your dad just looks at you and he's like, why are you unscrewing that? And you're like, what? No, I'm screwing it in. He's like, no, you're not.
Okay.
And then we traded spots and it was fine.
No. In this particular instance, it wasn't like I was doing a screwdriver situation. I understand righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that.
It's the same if it's over your head or under your head.
I was using a socket wrench.
Oh, yeah, we did. I was not the one that handed you that socket wrench. Your dad is the one that sabotaged you.
Socket wrenches only go one way.
But there's a switch that changes the direction they go.
Okay, well, I was using it for multiple spots, and somehow it got switched. So I was just like, socketing, and apparently it was going out, not in.
Yeah. But your family is very lucky that I married into the family. Because I start looking at the pieces that we have left on the ground. And I'm
There's
like,
that humbleness.
There is that super humbleness. And I'm like, we have the wrong pieces. I have 3 of a piece I'm supposed to have 2 of. And I have 1 of a piece I'm supposed to have 2 of.
They didn't mark certain pieces.
They didn't mark every single piece. They marked like every other. So like if there were 6 F6s, they labeled 3 of them. So you had to figure out that the other 3 were also F6s because they matched. But in this case, it was E7 and E8. And I'm like, I have 3 E7s and 1 E8, and I'm supposed to have 2 E8s. And I start looking up at the ceiling that we're still in the process of building and playing the one of these things is not like the other game. Hey, there's a piece that's supposed to have 3 holes that only has 2 holes right there. And you know that piece? It's that piece that you guys spent like 20 minutes trying to get up there because you were having issues putting it together. And now we got to take it down and replace it with another piece. I love you guys. It's all your dad's fault. So poor Josh and Joe had to undo this piece that we had already put up. Fortunately, it was easier to swap it with a very similar piece. And Big Joe was like, but why does that matter? And I'm like, it doesn't matter right now, but it's going to matter when you go to do the next step. And sure enough, when we did the next step, which was putting the support beams in, we needed that 3rd hole. So, super humble. I fixed everything. it was also really funny because like I sent videos on Snapchat once we were safely on the ground or like in safe-ish points of stuff. I took a video when we were in a very sketchy position, and once we were on the ground I sent it. But Joe's mom is just like in the house, like she keeps coming in and out like, I can't watch this, this is crazy, I can't watch this. And then she comes back outside like 5 minutes later, this is crazy, I can't watch it. Just go in the house and stay in the house. It's fine, we got this. We're gonna do some redneck stuff. It's fine. It's gonna work. It's a hillbilly construction. It's fine. So, of course, I sent her that video.
Of course.
Just to ease her nerves.
Meanwhile, the kids are having a great time. They're in oversized T-shirts and watching... What were they watching?
Cinderella. They watched Aristocats, Lady and the Tramp, and, like, the first half of Cinderella.
They watched all that?
Throughout the course of the day, yes.
Oh, throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the kids wanted to do was help. But Elliot's version of help is let me climb this ladder as high as I possibly can. Lily's version of help is like, I'm going to try to screw this thing in, which is kind of useful.
Elliot just wants to climb stuff and jump off it. He would fit in with Uncle Josh.
He would. He is an adventure child. So yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks because that's all 2 weeks.
No, Elliot, I mean, the kids were there all day and Elliot mostly just played in the sandbox, right?
Yeah, all he wanted to do was play with that sandbox.
And Lily has a gang of girls.
Yep, there's a gang of girls that are backdoor neighbors.
With my mom now.
Yep, because there's like a drainage ditch. So people don't have fences that butt up against each other because they leave space for the drainage ditch. And everybody has back gates because drainage ditch. So you can still mow that part back there. So like Lily's friend shows up at the back gate. Hi, is Lily here? It's like, yeah, I guess she can play for a little bit, but she needs a supervisor. And all of a sudden they're all 2 houses, catty corner, playing on a swing set. Like, say hi to your mom. She's doing hillbilly stuff. But it's okay. We're in Harrison. They're used to it.
There's at least one Karen that yells at them when they...
Yeah. I'm like...
You witnessed this?
No, I didn't witness it, but like, I hung out with Lily and her little friend for a little bit so I could like mildly get to know these people that Lily's hanging out with. And Elliot starts running through the neighbor's yard to get somewhere else. And she's like, no, don't run through their yard. They'll yell at you. And she like told him like 20 times, like, don't run through his yard. He'll yell at you. He gets really mean. And I'm like, you moved into a neighborhood with 2-story houses. Like, there's gonna be young families here. Like, I would have punched him by now, but that's just me. But I also don't know. Well, no, like, there's people in my mom's neighborhood that have hot tubs. Like, move into my mom's neighborhood if you don't want kids running through your yard. Because it's not like they have a fence up.
No, they don't.
And it's not like their yard looks great either. Like, their backyard looks worse than your parents' backyard. And your parents' backyard has dogs that run around in it all day that try to dig the thing up. And they got more grass in their backyard than the neighbor does that's saying mean things to small children.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't either.
That's a ranch style house, right?
It is. Yeah.
So it's like the same style that my parents have.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like a mixed neighborhood, as far as 2-story and ranches.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a ton of kids. Like I drove.
So like
I go like 5 miles an hour. I'm like, oh my god.
So, like right before you turn onto your parents' street, there's like 3 houses in a little dead end that goes into a cornfield, which allegedly is going to turn into more houses at some point. But like that little dead end,
I saw
there were like 30 kids playing there.
I saw so many kids.
And it's like they had set up like an obstacle course in chalk.
Yeah.
And when I was leaving to go to Harbor Freight, it was like all these kids were just doing like this big circle of like hop from this circle to hip this circle.
I guess
like,
in Harrison, it's summer. Like,
yeah.
Cause
I mean, Yeah, I mean, that was still, would have been the school day. I don't know when their kids get out of school. And I think they still had like 2 days of school, but they might have been off on Friday or something like
Or
that.
maybe they had like a half day.
Yeah, or like an early release kind of situation.
They're kind of, they're younger.
Mhm.
It's not like they're 8th grade.
Yeah.
Like 8th grade, we had like a whole bunch of half days.
Like, these are kids that I was like, I'm not sure that I would encourage them to say that, like, this part of the street to play in is fine, but, like, that part of the street is not, like, because, like, you can do that with kids when they get, like, a certain point, like, a certain age. Like, Lily and Elliot are not there, though, and there were, like, kids Lily and Elliot's age running around like that. And I'm like, ah.
I mean, when you have 30 kids.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to do what bigger kids do. Oh, when we were having
The bigger kids are going to watch the younger kids. 'Cause, I mean, I was 10 when Jenna was born. So
yeah.
I was the person chasing her down.
Yeah. When we were at the picnic at Water Days, one of the kids in her 3-year-old class looks at Lily and says, "Hey, Lily, what's 80 plus 80?" And she's like, 4? I don't know. Like, these are big numbers, dude. What's going on? He's like, it's 160. And then her teacher's like, yeah, he has lots of older siblings, and he's trying real hard to keep up with them.
How old was this kid?
3 or 4.
Wow.
He's probably 4 because, like, Lily's the youngest one in the class.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
But I think there was, like, a 4-year-old that was, like, the same size as Elliot. It might just be, like, relatively speaking, he seemed smaller. I don't know.
Elliot's only like 70 percentile.
Yeah.
So
This kid seems small. He was a lot smaller than all the other kids he was running around with. And I'm like,
Lily is like 90 percentile.
yeah,
But she's still on the chart.
yeah.
I was off the chart. My brother was off the chart.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't told us like how big they're gonna get. Like, I guess our doctor.
It's
doesn't-
always a guessing game.
But my mom was always like, "Your doctor says you're gonna be over 6 feet."
I mean, Lily's doctor has told her multiple times, or has told me about Lily, all of the sports teams are going to want her. Because she's going to be ridiculously tall.
Volleyball.
Basketball.
I don't think it matters in soccer.
Yeah, I mean, longer legs might help you out, but, like, I can walk faster than you sometimes, so it's how you use them. I've
Well,
sped you up a bit.
Soccer is a very intense sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so much running. But I mean, she could be a goalie.
Yeah.
Like the long arms. That in gym class, that was the rationale for making me goalie. You have long arms.
Yeah, and your hands are the size of dinner plates.
I mean, but they kick hard once you get up to like 8th grade in high school.
Yeah.
So it's like a dodgeball game.
Well, you're not supposed to dodge. You're just supposed to deflect and block.
Oh yeah, but it's gym class. Fuck that shit.
That's like insane shit.
There you go. That's what I was trying to do.
Okay, we need to land this plane because we still have to record a bonus episode.
Well, that does it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening. You can like, follow, and subscribe to us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And breaking news, we are also on Twitter.
Oh, snap.
So you can follow us on the bird. Also, I did some experiments with our YouTube page. Live stream experiments, I should clarify. Just testing out equipment and stuff. So if you see like random videos of me doing live streams, like short videos, and
Say hi.
and maybe they disappear, maybe I'll just leave them up, who knows. But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to test the equipment. And it's hard, it's difficult because I'm not a video person. I'm not an AV person. So it's just kind of a guess, check, and revise thing. But you can also get a hold of us via email, which is craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com.
If you like what you hear, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. And please be sure to share the show. It is what helps our show grow. I'm good with math.
All this information is available on our website, www.craftparentingpodcast.com.
That's where we post show notes and old blog posts and maybe new old blog posts.
Well, I don't have a computer, so I can't blog this weekend. And you can follow me personally at Craft Parenting Joe on Instagram.
And I am at Caroline Creates Crafts on Instagram.
And happy Memorial Day.
That's when we're recording this.
It's a week late, but happy Memorial Day. Hope you guys all had a safe Memorial Day celebration.
I hope you end Memorial Day with the same number of fingers that you started Memorial Day with.
Yes, that. With that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Bye.